Yep, there I said it. Most ab exercises are a waste of time. Why? Well, it's because your whole idea of training abs is completely wrong. As most of the ab training advice you get on the internet nowadays wants you to believe that you will get a six pack by having a seizure on the floor every morning. But I think I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. So let's start from the beginning, so that I can show you which ab exercises are a complete waste of time and what ab exercises you should focus on instead to finally see results. The first thing that you have to realize is that abs are a body part like any other. You might think that abs are some special magical body part, but that's just not the case. You should train your abs in the same way you train your chest, your back, or your biceps. That is a big reason why most ab exercises are a waste of time, because they are just completely different from what you would do for a normal body part. So really, tell me, would you do a 5-minute routine for your chest instead of real hard training in the gym? No, of course not. Then would you do 300 repetitions of bodyweight bicep curls to get a massive biceps? Also no. So why do you think that this will work for your abs? Like honestly, tell me, because I'm struggling to understand how so many people still think that this will give them great abs. If it was like 2014, I would actually answer all those questions that I just asked you with, yeah, probably. Because back then I had no clue what was going on and my physique was an exact indicator of that. But after a decade plus of experimenting with different types of ab training, I really feel like that I know exactly what is gonna give you massive results and what is just gonna waste your time. There are two main reasons why most ab exercises are a complete waste of time. The first one of them is that most ab exercises are just not challenging enough. Sure, if you have never done a sit-up in your life or if you can just barely hold a plank, then it's not going to be easy. But we are talking about a regular gym goer here. And even if you are super out of shape, you will be able to pretty quickly get to a state where exercises like that turn into a complete snooze fest. And the second reason why most ab exercises are a waste of time is because there is just no way to effectively progress forward. Because these weird, seizure-like exercises are impossible to load effectively. Imagine that you do the bicycle crunches or something like that. How on earth are you going to effectively load this exercise to progress forward? You can't really do that, and even if you could, it would be something super janky. Like, what are you going to do? Add ankle weights? That's just super awkward. What you should focus on instead is exercises with high and constant tension, and most importantly, with a good loading profile. And by good loading profile, I simply mean that it's super easy to add more weight to the exercise, without it making the exercise any more awkward in any way. That's why the best ab exercises in my opinion are the machine and the cable crunch, as they perfectly fit the criteria. They offer constant tension throughout the whole movement, and adding weight to these two exercises will not mess up the exercise in any way. And it's basically the only type of ab exercise in which you can load a big amount of weight on, which is a super big deal. And an honorable mention has to be the weighted sit-up, which can be a great option if you can't do the machine or the cable crunch, as it will also allow you to increase in weight over time. And if you have watched my video about the barbell curl, you might already know where I'm going with this, as a very similar training philosophy applies here. You don't want to think about ab training as something inferior or as something completely special. You want to think about ab training in the same exact way you think about doing the bench press, for example. You want to get stronger and lift some heavy weight and not roll around like a madman on the floor. You can always find some people who will tell you that they really like one of those 5-minute ab routines because it gives them a crazy burn or something like that. But I'm sorry to say, but the fact that it burns doesn't mean that you are growing your abs. It just burns and that's it. What really builds abs, or any muscle for that matter, is when you put it under constant tension, together with using challenging weight and really paying attention to controlling both the concentric and the eccentric. In other words, you control the exercise on both the way up and the way down. Doing all of this is over time going to turn your abs into an absolute powerhouse. And if you would like to turn your whole physique into a powerhouse, I would highly recommend trying out some of my training plans. They will give you the exact structure that you should follow while still giving you the ability to choose your own favorite exercises. Which is one of the most important things if you want to keep your bodybuilding journey fun. Because if the gym becomes a chore for you, then you are probably not very far away from giving up altogether. And you have already come this far, so don't give up on yourself. If you would like to give it a shot, check the first link in the description. Now back to the video. What really is a complete game changer if you want your abs to pop out a little more and to be visible even if you are not completely shredded is making sure that you are using challenging weight every time you train abs. It's just a complete must do. And when I'm saying visible abs at a higher body fat percentage level, then I really mean just visible. I don't want to mislead you into thinking that you can have a defined six-pack at 20% body fat. That is just not possible. But you can still have visible abs at higher body fat percentage level. It's just not going to be what you see on Instagram. If your abs are big enough, you will still see the outline of the abs, even if you are a little puffier. And I think that is still pretty cool. But as I said, you will never achieve this by doing 10 million reps of bicycle crunches or by doing a plank for an hour. And not even by doing a 5-minute morning ab routine every day. Because that is not training your abs, you are just messing around. Because these methods are just not challenging enough, and there is no sign of progressive overload anywhere. And without these two things, you will never build anything. And as I mentioned a minute ago, even if you can't do the machine or the cable crunch for some reason, you can still be completely fine if you do the weighted sit-up. And if you are feeling super fancy, you can even try doing the weighted sit-up on a decline bench, which will increase the range of motion and make it into an even better exercise. You can either add more weight by using a weight plate or a backpack with some stuff inside of it. And while it might get a little awkward later on, when you will need to go over 45 pounds in weight, it's going to take you a long time before you get there. And by that time, you will probably already have pretty good abs. And speaking of time, that's something that you need to keep in mind. Because no matter how much someone tries to tell you that you can get abs in 30 days or even 3 months, that's just not gonna happen. It's the same way you are not going to get a massive chest in 3 months when you started out completely fresh. If you are really serious about building some crazy looking abs, prepare to spend like a year of training abs while constantly progressing forward. That's what it takes, and if you are not willing to accept this, you can go back to your 5-minute routines that promise abs in 30 days just to waste some more time. But if you want results, you just need to stick it out like with any other body part. Which means training abs at least twice per week with at least 3 sets per workout, somewhere in between the 8 to 15 rep range. That's the bare minimum. And I feel like this doesn't even require that much extra effort to do. But you can definitely do more than just this. You just have to listen to your body. I think that for most of the people, doing up to 4 sessions per week can be sustainable. You can just slap 3 sets of machine or cable crunches at the end of your sessions and you should be all good. And while I'm not generally a fan of just randomly slapping things at the end of the workout, because at that point in the workout you are usually already pretty cooked, but in this case it fits pretty well, as the cable and the machine crunch really gives you that I really want to go home after this feeling. So I hope this video finally sheds some light on what you actually need to do to train your abs effectively, and that you won't waste any more time with 5-minute ab routines. What I really want you to take away is that abs are not a special body part, and the key to building it is the exact same as for any other body part. So the next time you get flashed with some miracle 5-minute ab routine, you can just happily giggle to yourself because you now know how absolutely ridiculous it is. Well, you came all the way here, so you should definitely check out this video too.